So Jared Leto wants to come back and play the Joker in a series that is evolved around the death of Robin. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Good to have you here, and I hope you have a pretty good new year. Also, today is pretty interesting online because today is kind of hashtag restore the Snyderverse, which is up to 100,000 tweets, just over that already. So that is pretty cool. I'm sure HBO Max and Jason Kidd are keeping a good eye on that. But I want to talk today about Jared Leto's Joker. Now, of course, he was done dirty in 2016. A lot of his scenes were cut. He was not happy. He's an Oscar winner. Then Jared Leto was put aside. Harley Quinn got her own movie. Joker was played by a new actor. Joaquin Phoenix made $1 billion, won an Oscar. People had forgotten about Jared Leto's Joker, saying he was the worst Joker of all time. I always disagree with that statement because all we got to see was an extended cameo in Suicide Squad. How could you really judge his performance? But every single Joker has brought something new and unique to the role. Jack Nicholson, Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, Joaquin Phoenix, Cameron Monaghan, Jared Leto. They've all brought something new and unique, and that's exactly what you want. What's the point of having the same thing over and over again? But I think if the air cut, or when it is announced and when it is released and we get to watch it, I think people will be raving about Jared Leto's Joker. I think people will change their minds very quickly. And the leg that people stand on where they say that Jared Leto's Joker is the worst Joker of all time, I think that leg will be very limb when they see the air cut. And don't forget, he will appear in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is coming out in March, in the Nightmare timeline. So he's working with the Justice League. So it's going to be pretty cool to see Jared Leto come back to the role years after playing the character, and maybe have a new perspective of how to play the character, and also shut some people up who call him the worst Joker of all time. Now, there's so many possibilities where Jared Leto's Joker could come back. Justice League 2, Justice League 3, the further explanation of the Nightmare timeline. If Batfleck wants to do his movie, his series, Joker could be in that. But what if Jared Leto's Joker got his own series? Well, Daniel RPK is reporting this. Zack Snyder hinted at it on Dave the Film Junkie's show as well. So it looks like it could be a possibility. And I'm sure Jared Leto wouldn't come back for Zack Snyder's Justice League unless it was an interesting concept and an interesting idea. And he said before in numerous interviews that he loved playing the Joker and would love to do it again. But he was done dirty in 2016. He shot a lot of scenes that we did not get to see. But I'm confident when the haircut does come out, we will love his performance and people will change their minds. So I can't wait for that. But if he gets his own series, which is involving the death of Robin, that could be pretty interesting. And imagine Jared Leto got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes to explore the character of the Joker. Have more depth for that character and really understand where Jared Leto was coming from in his portrayal of the character in 2016. Now, the Joker that we see in 2016 doesn't have to be the same Joker that we see in Zack Snyder's Justice League because it's in the future. Things have changed. The Joker that we get to see in the HBO Max series doesn't have to be the same as the 2016 version either. He doesn't need to have the tattoos. It doesn't need to have the grill. It doesn't have to have those things. It can do its own thing and bring in more uniqueness thing to the character, which would be pretty cool. Now, my pitch for the Joker series would be, let's try and implement a lot of Easter eggs and hints towards Jason Todd. Let's show the origins of Joker, how he was brought up through the ranks of the criminal underworld of Gotham City, which would be pretty fascinating. Have a look at his relationship between Ben Affleck's Batman and Joker and how long they've known each other and how long they've fought toe-to-toe. That could be pretty interesting as well. 10 episodes with Zack Snyder as a showrunner or as a producer, David Ayer as a showrunner or producer or director of some of the episodes, I think would work pretty well. Let David Ayer have more creative freedom. Make up for what you did to him in 2016 by bringing him in, and he also has a huge fan base who want the haircut, and let him have an idea for this world of the Joker series. But to involve the death of Robin could be fascinating. You could bring that out. You could fletch that out for 5, 6, 8 episodes and really build up and show why Joker wanted to kill Robin and show the reaction from Ben Affleck's Batman to that. Now, an interesting thing as well is this will be before he meets Harley Quinn, which I would like also. Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie has got her own thing. She got her own movie. She's going to be in the Suicide Squad 2. And she seems to get a lot of creative freedom with the character. And I remember back in 2016, many people were raving about Jared Leto's Joker and Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie and their relationship, and they wanted to see more. There was rumours that a Joker and Harley Quinn movie would happen, mad love, things like that. And Halloween of that year, many people were dressed up as Jared Leto's Joker and Harley Quinn. But as the years went on, Jared Leto was pushed out of the character a lot, and Margot Robbie seemed to get more and more. Now, since Birds of Prey has underperformed, I liked it, but it should have had Jared Leto's Joker. And what they did by just having another headless cameo of Joker, for me, is a disservice to the great character and to the great actor of Jared Leto. But to have a full series surrounded by Jared Leto's Joker could be pretty fascinating and unique, and delving deep into the psychological character that Joker is could be pretty cool. And the reason I talked about Jason Todd was because that's an interesting concept. And if you've known me for years on social media, I've always wanted Shia LaBeouf to play Jason Todd. I think he's the perfect actor for that kind of role. His own personal problems, of course, probably get in the way of that. But I think he's a fascinating actor. And his indie roles in the last few years has proved that he is a great actor. And David Ayers worked with him in numerous occasions. Zack Snyder said he'd work with him as well. I think he'd be the perfect character for Jason Todd, and to explore that evolution of the psychological battle of not being wanted, the psychological battle of being left behind, being killed by Joker, blaming Batman. I think that would work pretty well. But Jared Leto's Joker is the most searched thing about Snyder Cut. The Joker is the most searched thing about Zack Snyder's Justice League Online. How crazy is that? For a character who was only brought into it, only announced a few months ago that he would be in this series, this movie in March. That's pretty fascinating. But if he does get to have his series, his limited series, or whatever it is, I would be so happy, and I know many of you would as well. I think it's a pretty interesting thing to do, have a high budget Joker series with an Oscar-winning actor who this time is given the time to portray the character and be respectful towards the character and the story. And I think Jason Kilar, the main guy over at HBO Max, he listens to the fan base. He knows that hashtag Restore the Snyderverse is going on today. He gave us the Snyder Cut because he knew that we wanted it. He's been hinting at Ben Affleck's Batman. If we tell him these things, he will actually give it to us because he sees what the fans want. He sees that if I'm respectful towards the fans will be respectful towards HBO Max and show up when we put these products on the service, which is a pretty good way to work with it all. But guys, Jared Leto's Joker, to get his own series on HBO Max, would be mind-blowing. I think it would break the internet. I think people would show up. Many people, females, guys, whatever you are, there's an attraction towards Jared Leto. He has a huge fan base online. He really, really does. The guy had a cult, for God's sake. I think that's what happened a few months ago or something like that, a cult of Jared Leto. But anyway, of course he has his rock band as well. So he's a huge fan base. So people would show up to see him in anything. And arguably one of the greatest characters of all time, one of the most popular characters of all time, Joker. It's money. There's money to be made with this and popularity towards HBO Max. And that's something that Disney Plus can't do. An R-rated Joker show or whatever it's going to be. You know, that's cool. It's unique. It's different. It's cool. People will come out and see that. Even just to hate watch it like they'll do for Zack Snyder's Justice League. But guys, a Jared Leto Joker series that involves the death of Robin, pretty darn cool. And maybe Batfleck will come into it, pretty darn cool. Explore a bit of Harley Quinn, pretty darn cool. Arkham Asylum, Gotham, all that shit would be pretty darn cool. Now, many people would think that how can you bring Harley Quinn into it? That's understandable as well, and I would agree with that. I don't want to see Harley Quinn in every single episode. I think near the end you could have that kind of relationship explored. But remember what Jeff Johns did in Suicide Squad 2016. Snyder's world was Robin was killed by Joker. Joker got that shit kicked out of him, his teeth kicked out of him by Batman. He got the Gorilla's nephew towards Batman. He was put into Arkham Asylum. And then he met Harley Quinn as a psychiatrist. What did Jeff Johns do in 2016 Suicide Squad? He rewrote it. He said that Harley Quinn was the one who killed Robin. That makes no sense to the continuity that you've set up. It doesn't, because Joker had never even met Harley Quinn, and he had already killed Robin, and Harley Quinn wasn't even Harley Quinn yet. She was still a psychiatrist. She was still Harley Quinn Zell, whatever you call it. She wasn't even invented yet. So that was a bit of stupidity on Jeff Johns' part by rewriting that, and David Ayer confirmed that was a rewrite from Jeff Johns. And remember that the Robin that's dead in the Snyderverse isn't Jason Todd, it's Dick Grayson. So when I say bring Jason Todd into it, I'm talking about bringing the comic book storyline of Jason Todd and giving it to Dick Grayson and having that explored, maybe in a spin-off, maybe in the Batfleck series, who knows. But there's certain ways that Jared Leto's Joker could come back. He could come back in the Snyder world. Justice League 2, Justice League 3. He could come back in his own series. He could come back if Batfleck wants to do his movie or series. So there's so many ways that Jared Leto's Joker comes back as the Joker. And do I think it's going to happen in some capacity, whether it's a series, movie, stuff like that? I think it will. And if it doesn't happen in the Batfleck series, he'll push for himself and his own series. And of course, Deathstroke is a big part of Batfleck's story. The nightmare timeline of Joker in the Snyderverse is interesting and unique as well. And the Joker that we meet in the series doesn't have to be the same Joker from 2016, doesn't have to be the same Joker from Zack Snyder's Justice League, because we're meeting the Joker at different times. If you were to meet Ben Affleck's Batman in his first year, he'd be very different than he was in Batman v Superman. The Man of Steel himself that you meet in Man of Steel, Superman, is going to be very different from the Superman that you meet in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So these are different looks at the character. It's the same actor, but their personalities, the way they carry themselves is being changed by the stories and the experiences that they go through. But I'm fascinated by this, guys, to see this. I would absolutely love that. I love Heath Ledger. I love the Joker solo movie, and I would love for Jared Leto to come back and get redemption. And that seems to be what Zack Snyder's doing by bringing back Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke, bringing back Jared Leto's Joker, giving them that redemption that they didn't get in 2016 and 2017. So, guys, let me know your thoughts on Jared Leto's Joker possibly getting a series on HBO Max. It's a big possibility, I think, of him coming back in general, not just a series. But what do you think? Are you happy? Would you want to see this? Leave a like, comment, subscribe, guys. Let me know in the comments. I want to know your thoughts. Would you want to see Jared Leto's Joker come back in his own series? I think it'll be fascinating. A big delve into the character. 8-10 episodes of Jared Leto's Joker, show the origin, show the interaction with Batman, show the death of Robin. And that's what everybody's interested to see, is that death of Robin. Now, would we get that in the Batfleck show? Maybe that's too surrounded by Deathstroke. There's too much going on in the Snyderverse to explore that. In the Ayer cut, they might just touch the surface of it, but then they might not actually show it. I think the Joker series is probably the best option that we have right now of seeing the death of Robin and what actually happened, and Batman beating the shit out of him then. That'd be pretty cool. But guys, let me know. I'm interested. This is pretty cool stuff. And don't forget today, hashtag restore the Snyderverse, because we want to see more of this shit. We want to see more of this world expanded. It's pretty cool. Guys, have a good one. Happy New Year.